Hey there, everyone. My name is Monkey Strapman from the Guys Who Play Games. Yeah. Monkey Strapman from the Guys Who Play Games, back with some more Gauntlet Dark Legacy. And today we're, let me turn this down just a bit. Today we're basically about to go ahead and do a big old boss rush. Because I decided to save them all for the end for some reason. I don't know, I just ended up feeling better. Because now we can basically just do it all in a row. And, I mean, yeah, why talk about it? Let's just get into it. Those, the legend items we've been collecting throughout the game are going to help us for these. Lich's Crypt. And yeah, the items we've been collecting will help us out. As you can see right off the bat, a good book spins above us. The Lich actually starts off pretty strong. This is like one of the best bosses in the game, to be honest, even though it's early on. And despite being the first boss, he's actually one of the harder bosses, and we'll see why in a sec here. But as you approach, hey look. Let's just shoot him. I mean, this is what every boss does, just shoot him. Right off the bat, he gets blocked. That's what the good book does, it blocks him. Now he can't move. Oh shit. It doesn't last very long, though. And yeah, one of the reasons why he's hard is because he's actually... Well, you'll see why later, but like, yeah, so bosses in this game have... You know, it's the same thing as before, right? They all have like weak points and stuff. Like, I think certain weapons are stronger against certain bosses than others. You can shoot their various body parts. They have a health bar, which, if you don't know, the GameCube version does not have health bars, and it does not have the body part system either. Which is actually a pretty big deal for one of the bosses, but even just the lack of a health bar really sucks with the GameCube version. Ooh! The trick with the Lich basically is just keep moving. Every time he does an attack, just move around. When he gets close, move around some more. Just shoot him in the downtime. And sometimes you can get lucky and he kind of gets stuck in this weird loop like this where he wants to kind of approach, but he has to like face you to do something. But he can't quite turn around as fast as he wants to. Which is funny. He can shoot these out. Eventually, he has that hand grab attack. He can actually shoot out he can like spit out a thing. He can spit out like a little maggot nest. It's like you can spit out as like a loogie or whatever you'd call it. Although he's not doing it. I say he's one of the harder bosses. Not really. He's mainly not hard because he just doesn't have a lot of health. There's his loogie. Like he makes like a hawk sound and everything, and he's like he makes like all the sound, and it comes from his mouth. So he's definitely spitting it out. All right, he's just about dead. There you go. Boom! He drops copper coins, which are worth 500 gold, and a silver coin, which is worth 1,000. So you can see the bosses give a lot of money. But he's got wicked rich. Wicked rich, I don't know. And yeah, when you beat him, every time you beat a boss, you get like this little message that's basically telling you, you know, that's what you're beating the bosses for. You get a shard from him, and you're basically trying to get, you know, all the shards so you can go into the desecrated temple. And he also gives you a little thing that basically just says, just to let you know, like, yeah, you did in fact get all the runestones from this area. So you get a little like thing. I'm gonna do the bosses like legit, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not gonna buy anything for them. We're just gonna go right into it. And anyways...
Congratulations! You have recovered the shard for the Forsaken Province. Continue now on your quest to recover all 8 shards that restore the entrance to the desecrated temple.
Yeah, what he said, basically. The Lich's item isn't that useful, mainly because, like, it basically just blocks him for a little bit, but it doesn't block him for very long. So the reason why I mentioned the Lich is kind of an interesting boss is because he's, like, I don't know if he's how particularly hard I'd comp, but he's...
The dragon's
the Dragon's Lair. He's harder than this boss because, as you can imagine, because Mountain Kingdom was supposed to be the first world, was originally the first world. This was the first boss originally, and it's not only is the item for him do a bunch of damage to him, but it also freezes him, which does this. Which means you can just melt this boss without him really getting a chance to do much. Look how much damage this boss has taken, and he hasn't gotten a chance to do anything yet. So it's actually a fun boss too, because basically what it is he just shoots a ton of like explosion projectiles at you, and also he has that shockwave attack that you dodge by essentially staying behind these rocks that can also take shots, and you can destroy them yourself. But eventually, these shots, the boulders do take damage. But yeah, the axe completely destroys this guy. And he gives a decent amount of money too. He gives 5 silver coins. So you get 5,000 gold from this guy. He also has a 3-way shot just to really melt it. I could have killed him. Basically, I could have killed him without him doing to do anything. But like he has a bunch of attacks based on how close he is or how close you are and stuff. He's a cool boss. It's kind of a shame he's just so quick to die. I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably gonna refight him just to do it legit without the thing, because the Lich, like his book doesn't help too much, which is, and you can also notice that the dragon doesn't really move, like he's just in the spot, and that's pretty much every boss in this game except for the Lich and one other boss in this game. Most of the bosses just kind of are at the back of their arena and they just shoot you with stuff. They shoot you with a lot of different things, mind you, and they're not always in the back, but the Lich is one of only two bosses that actually like moves around at you, which is kind of unfortunate. But yeah, we're gonna actually. Should I show off the dragon? I mean, screw you. You know, nah. If you want to see the dragon, do it yourself. He has a bunch of his stuff. He can swipe at you if you're close. He breathes fire, obviously. He has a bunch of different types of fireballs and all this other crap. We pretty much got the gist of what he does. Now here, on the other hand, unlike the dragon, this is actually quite a nasty boss. And if you've ever played the GameCube version, this boss is ridiculous in the GameCube version. The Chimera's Keep. This boss is ridiculous in the GameCube version because of the fact that it doesn't have a weak point system, right? Because, as you can see right off the bat here, this boss actually has 3 separate health bars because it essentially, like I said, it is each gargoyle head, essentially. It's themed after each gargoyle head. And whatchamacallit, each head has its own health bar. I can't move. And in the GameCube version, where there's no health point system, it's like super broken. But in this version, the sword just kills one of the heads instantly, so it just takes out 1/3 of its health, which is really powerful, as you can imagine. This boss is also weird because there's times where it just kind of does this. I don't know why. I think it's because once one of the heads dies, it kind of gets like weirdly like, I don't know. But in the GameCube version, because that version doesn't have a weak point system, essentially the boss just has one giant health bar, and the whole time all 3 heads are shooting you. Whereas like in this version, like if you stand like the middle here, I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but like basically the lack of a weak point system means that all the time all 3 heads are shooting you, and when all 3 heads are shooting you, they actually do a shit ton of damage, and they will just melt through your health. There's like this boss's damage is insane, and it can be hard to damage him without really taking hits, especially because they have like the fake out shot where they'll shoot around you. But yeah, once you get 2 of the heads down. It also does this where it like moves around. Alright, we're gonna get close and it'll shoot fire breath at me, but I want a turbo. Yeah, it actually like, it kind of can't. It's like a weirdly like simple boss because you can see like it doesn't really have too much it does, but also it does do a lot of damage too. So like, I don't know. This boss is like really strong in the GameCube version, but in this version it's not that bad. Also gives you what, like a gold coin? I think the gold coin's worth 5,000. So I just got, look how much gold I have right now.
And recovered his shard. You have found the one runestone from this realm.
Oof. Yeah. The bosses are where the GameCube version really starts to show how, like, weird it is. Especially because the thing with the GameCube version is that the weapons you pick up are very glitchy. Like, for example, with the dragon, most of the time in the GameCube version, when you throw the axe, it just, like, misses the dragon. And just will just float there in the air and not do anything. But you can see that the bosses are very good sources of money. Look how much money I have. Holy cow. But, yeah. It's funny that, like, simple things like that, like, just the fact that the port is has different stuff happening makes this boss completely different, and the boss will just eat you alive in that version. And, like, I think in that version, the sword just does some damage to him. It's like it does basically nothing.
Continue now on your quest to recover all 8 shards.
It probably does, like, only, like, it probably still tries to do the same thing, because it'll do, like, a third of its health. But since the heads don't have separate, like, health bars, it just does tiny damage, and, like, it's just weird. I don't know why the GameCube version's like that. Anyways, now we got Mr. Boss 4.
You are now entering Vat of the Plague Fiend.
I like the way this boss looks. Like, this boss is basically just toxic waste, but it's like, it has a really cool, like, gimmick with its weapons. So, like, you throw a javelin of blinding, and it literally hits this dude right in his eye, and makes it so he can't, like, he'll still try to attack you, but he has shit aim, basically. So if you stand back and let him use his, like, little, like, pew-pew attack, he basically can't hit you. Like, he has crap aim. But he also has this attack, which will just, like, hit you. So basically the idea is you want to... How do I block? I always forget. Let me do this again. Because that attack is pretty much undodgeable. But, it has an attack where, like, if you're standing near the things, it, like... But, like, if you're standing in a spot like this, it obviously can't hit you. Okay, there you go. It's the right trigger for me. Well, if you're scared about taking too much damage from that attack, you can just use your turbo. And it, like, won't hit you, basically, because you're invincible during it. But, yeah, once he starts being blind, now his little projectile shot can hurt you. So, kind of a shame about bosses in this game, I mentioned, is that they have different attacks based on where you're standing. But generally speaking, you pretty much just want to be standing in the far back, because, like, it's the only way to dodge that attack, for example. And, like, most of their close-range attacks are basically undodgeable, because they'll just, like, smack you with something. Whereas if I stand in the back here, this guy can't really do much to me. Ow! Like, he shoots like a big old Logie at me. But I can run up and do that. Nope. And yeah, like, a lot of bosses will have this gimmick going, where basically they have like a screen attack that you have to dodge by standing on a spot in the arena. It's like, you can't dodge this, but you have to, if you're standing in, like, right behind these things, right? Obviously, you can dodge it. But also, like, you can destroy it. But I think there's, like, weapons and stuff behind one of these, too. So I'm just gonna do this. I'll just double bow to, like, get invincibility frames. And there you go, he dead. He drops gold coin and a silver coin. So this guy, good money. Let's say, I want to double check on this. Yeah, the gold coin is 5,000 gold. So yeah. Yeah, the bosses are money incarnates. I also have 6666 health. That's kind of incredible. Yeah, 9,000 gold for shooting a boss for 5 minutes. Alright, let's just buy some meat. You can see how like bosses kind of pay for themselves. It's like, I can just buy all my health back and I still have more gold. which is pretty nice. I'm gonna save up all my gold to see. Anyways, like I was mentioning, there's 2 bosses in this game that move around. Next boss is the other one that can move around. Next boss is actually really weird because, I won't spoil it. I'll mention it after, but like, there's something really weird with this next boss fight actually, that kind of like is like weird because it like I don't know how you put it. Like, it ignores how everything else in the game works basically, but I won't mention it until after we finish it. And I'll talk about that then. But next boss is pretty cool though, because we'll see. You know, what better boss for a forest world, you know? And no, it isn't a giant tree. It would actually be kind of sick if the boss was just the entire tree that like half the world takes place on. But yeah, it's Spider Queen. I love that it's a Spider Queen and she attacks with a fucking whip. But yeah, she's the only other boss that moves around. Her weapon is actually pretty cool, because, or I should say her weakness is pretty cool, because what it does is, it's a toxic bellow, right? So it literally, like, shrinks and poisons her. So now she's smaller, which means her attacks have less range, and, oh jeez, and she also has this attack, which just melts you. She's actually one of the harder bosses in the game, because, like, yeah, she's fast as shit, just kind of kicks you down. Let's, pick up the speed, actually, like, here. She also does, she's like, just like the Lich, too. She can spit out spider nests. Oh, God. But yeah, unlike the Lich, she's a lot more aggressive with, like, running towards you. She still has moments she just kind of sits there and does nothing, but that's kind of true of all the bosses. They have, like, down periods, basically. So, like, kind of give you a chance to, like, get away from them. Because otherwise, like, it can be really easy to just, like, get gangbanged by a boss and just, like, there's not really anywhere to go, you know what I mean? Especially because, like, when she spits out spider nests, because they spawn a lot faster than the maggots do, like, look how, like, just melted, they're, like, how, like, clogged up the arena gets with just spiders that are just blocking me, taking shots. Like, it can be pretty bad, especially because since it's like, the arena is not flat, right? It's like a web, so it's got a bunch of weird angles. It can be hard to actually hit spiders sometimes, because they'll basically just, like, block. They're like, they'll dodge it by just being too low to hit. Oh god. Oh god. You can punch bosses, but it's not usually a good idea if you couldn't figure that out. Because they're much bigger and much better at close combat. Even though we shrunk her, she still brutalized us in close quarters. But she dead. Also, because she drops the money directly from her, you can see that one of her coins just fell off the arena, which is unfortunately a thing that can happen. This isn't a problem with the Lich, because, like, I think he always drops the stuff in the middle and there's walls, but for some reason on her arena, it can just fall into the abyss, which kind of sucks. And I think it's actually going to take longer because it fell off, so, the game's going to try to wait for us to pick up the coin, but since it fell off, we can't actually pick it up, so we just kind of have to sit here for longer because of that, which is kind of annoying. It's still more gold than the Plague Fiend, but still. Anyways, the thing I'm talking about, you might have noticed, we leveled up twice in that boss fight. And that's kind of an enigma. We only really leveled up once from the other boss fights. For some reason, the Spider Queen's experience scaling is, like, completely, like, whack. She, like, the amount of experience she gives, like, doesn't get reduced as you level up. So, like, even when you're, like, in the high 90s, every time you fight and kill her, you'll always get 2 to 3 levels from killing her. So she is the best grind spot in the game, basically for everything, because she also gives a lot of money, right? So,
Congratulations, you have recovered the shard for the forest realm.
It's kind of silly. You can basically just fight her, and, like, if you buy stuff like 3-way shots and, like, a poison amulet, for example, you can just completely melt her in, like, 20 seconds. Especially if you're the archer and you buy, like, something like super shot, like, she just drops dead in, like, 10 seconds. Like, I'm not even joking. It's really weird that she's like, I don't know if that's a bug or something, or if that's just something weird. But, yeah, that's how it is. By the way, since we unlocked the other area, you get this shortcut at the top here that, like, lets you go through. It's not useful for us, but there is also another shortcut over here. For some reason, this one's really cool, too. There's a button here. If you press it and wait here for, like, a good, like, 5 seconds, a magic carpet shows up for some reason. It gives you, not only does it give you a cool look of the whole area, and it also causes the game to lag like a motherfucker, because it's rendering a shit ton of stuff on the screen. But it's another shortcut. I don't know why they did it, but there it is. Anyways, here's the other, I guess, unique boss, because this boss doesn't move around, but unlike all the other bosses that don't move around, this guy is in the middle of the arena. The Genie's Sanctum. This guy's in the middle of his arena. You kind of spin around him. Also, his weapon is, let me... He also has a different sound when you hit him for some reason. But yeah, we like do like this veil that basically like blinds him. So just like with the other bosses, you can just kind of sit over here for a while and just wail on him. Let me grab this light weapon. Oh, for some reason his arena lags a ton. That's partially because of my emulator, but like I'm pretty sure even the actual PlayStation version, it lags a bit. And it's kind of unfortunate. It's gonna sound like shit because of that. Yeah, this boss's weakness is kind of silly though, because like yeah, like it's basically just you just walk away from him and then you just shoot him for a while, and he just kind of melts. And eventually his thing goes away and he's like, oh shit. Eventually. Oh god. He shoots out an eye beam. He does this, so I can't really dodge it. You can dodge it either by going somewhere else or you just block it. It's one of the few attacks that's like, there really isn't much you can do. Also, that attack is this boss is actually kind of bullshit, because there's a lot of stuff that's like, there's not really much you can do. And it's the same problem. He has sword attacks, but for the most part, he doesn't use them, because you have to walk up for him to use it. And like, why would you do that? Because they're like completely undodgeable. Oh god. It's also kind of hard to tell, because when the screen shakes like that, sometimes it's because he's like, ouch, you've shot me a bunch, like a bunch of bosses do. But sometimes it's just an attack he does that just causes the ceiling to collapse on you. Oh yeah, he can shoot tornadoes at you. If those tornadoes hit you, it actually like throws you in the air, which is kind of a cool effect. The Lich has an attack like that too. He can pick you up and throw you, which is kind of cool. Also yeah, the Genie has his own minions, unlike the other dudes. He spews out tornadoes that make genies. Which I'm gonna actually like shoot it towards there to try. Oh god, I got thrown into the air. Yeah, well I guess we saw it. Holy crap, there's actually so many of them. Oh god. He's almost dead though. I don't want to waste time. I'm just gonna shoot him. Just get him. I'm just gonna shoot him. Ah! There's actually so much shit in the way right now. Ah god. Okay, I'm gonna get close and just do this. Double bow. There you go. That kills him, destroys everything. Let's pick up the meat. Yeah, the game's real laggy. He has a cool death effect too. He shatters into polygons, which I love. I always love it when games do that. Like, it's like Bowser's Big Blast, or like Bigger Blast from, is that Mario Party 4? Yeah, it's a cool effect. But yeah, even though this boss is a little different than others, because he doesn't just sit at the back, it's probably the worst boss just because of like a bunch of stuff. Like, his attacks are barely dodgeable. And also the game's just laggy during this fight. Technically, I think that's more of an emulation issue, so I wouldn't really dock that for it, but it is true. You can see, like, we only leveled up once from this guy, and the Spider Queen, like, we leveled up twice, and, like, probably would have almost leveled up the third time. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. Done with that guy. 2 more to go. These are going by a lot faster than I thought, actually. But I'm going to keep this. I'm just going to keep this to the bosses. Because I'm going to keep the whole, like, desecrated temple and stuff for, like, a whole episode of its own. I'm kind of just, like... I've been kind of turbo talking. Because it's like I'm trying to get everything out. Because, like, with the dragon boss, it's like, man, he died so fast I didn't have anything to say about him. This boss is actually pretty cool, though. I like the Ice World boss. Pew! You've already seen it, and it's pretty obvious what it is. Yeti. Pretty fitting boss for Ice Domain, Ice World. The Yeti boss is actually pretty fun. Also, for some reason, the Yeti boss has, like, this whole, like, pre-arena thing. Or, like, there's just, like, a bunch of areas, like, you actually get a chance to, like, run around a bit. There's no enemies, but there's, like, stuff to destroy, weapons to pick up. So you can pick up this rapid fire. You actually get a bit of health for free, for some reason. And then it moves you over here, and now the Yeti starts. Don't know why it's like this. But his thing is, the Parchment of Fire literally creates, like, this fire barrier in front of him. And that, like, blocks some of his attacks, where, like, he can't hit you. Like, he has an attack where it drops snow. It's like a snowball at you, but he can't hit you because he throws another thing at you. Like, a bunch of attacks just can't do anything, essentially. Although that shockwave attack, funny enough, you can't dodge it unless he does some attacks, which you can see right here. What the? My character's like, stop. See, you need that thing to block his shockwave, but that's what you do. So yeah, this boss basically like is like he like throws a bunch of like bowling balls at you essentially. He's like a bowling boss essentially, which is kind of funny. Unfortunately though, when he doesn't have a thing up, there isn't really anything you can do to dodge this except just do a turbo. Which is kind of silly. There usually is, but since it gets destroyed by his attacks, sometimes there's not really much you can actually do to dodge. Oh god. Although once there's a bunch up, it's pretty easy to avoid that. Oh god! It's kind of a shame though, because that one attack he does where like, you know what I mean, like it does... It's kind of hard to dodge that attack. Because it just... I think he always shoots it at like the same spots. It's like there's certain spots you can't shoot them out at, so it's not that big a deal. Like basically... even though you might not like it, one of the best ways to fight bosses is just take it slow. Because their attacks tend to be pretty, like... Especially for a guy like this, where it's very obvious what he's doing. Because he has, like, the same lengthy animation every time. Although it kind of sucks, because, like... that attack has a surprisingly huge hitbox when he spits out a thing at you. And this thing where he actually bowls towards you... that obliterates these in like one hit, so you have to be careful about that. If he throws one at you and then... Ah, man, look how big the hitbox is for that. It hit me from like 20 miles away. But yeah, basically just... Oh, yeah, I'm not dodging that. Just take it slow. I'm gonna do this. Whoa! That was funky looking. That was awesome, actually. I can't... Unfortunately, the ones on the side aren't really useful for blocking a shockwave. And sometimes, yeah, it freaking knocked me down, so I couldn't actually use it to block his attack, which is kind of funny. I think once you get close to, like, try to swipe at you, and, yeah, it'll do Ice Breath. But, like, you can see, like, how do you... You can't dodge this. So it's better to just... I get up close so I can turbo him and then, like, back off again. Because you can't dodge those attacks. It's kind of silly in a way. Like, the bosses are cool, I will say, but outside of, like, the Lich and, like, some of, like, I don't know. Like, the Lich is a good boss, I think. And then I would say, like, that's pretty much it. I shouldn't say they aren't good bosses, but it's, like, it's kind of silly that they have all these stuff that they bothered making. And it's, like, you're never gonna... I love his death animation of just turning into shattering ice. Like, why would you ever get close to that guy, right? He just eviscerates you if you do. He just swipes and breathes frozen breath at you, and you can't dodge it. So, like, it's just an attack that's just don't get close to him, dummy. It's weird. I don't know. I think it would have been cool if there were ways to actually, like, get around it. Maybe I'm just complaining about something for complaining's sake. He leveled up once. That guy actually did a lot of damage to us. And yeah, I'm definitely going to get to full health because compared to all the other bosses, the Dream Mode boss is quite a... I mean, maybe it's fitting. He's quite the nightmare. Funny joke. Because he is probably the hardest singular boss in the game. And like that's including like all the like the bonus, all the stuff after this too. Like there's a couple other bosses to fight after this, but the Dream World boss does an absurd amount of damage to you. Like all of his attacks do like over 100 damage to you or something crazy like that. So he just like drains your life real quick. Like I could say like all the other bosses can be pretty comfortably beaten at like level 1. As long as you're bringing like a weapon or something to help. But the Dream Mode boss will just like eat you alive. And it doesn't help that his weapon isn't particularly good against him. Because it's the same thing as the Yeti. It just blocks some of his attacks. But a lot of his attacks... Rates on. A lot of his attacks don't get blocked. But he's just like this, like... Well, like I said, he's like this wraith. So I'm just... Oh, I can't actually... Let's just shoot you then. Boom. It just kind of pops up. Oh, God. Okay, I got the turbo. Let's just do this. But yeah, the Dream Mode guy has a lot of attack. Like, look at this. That attack right there. He just... That's like a... Like a tracking projectile that's just like undodgeable. And like a lot of his attacks like this. Like his like attack where he like hits the screen, like you, it's so hard to dodge these unless you know they're coming. Oh God! And like they get like blocked by the thing, but very quickly it's gone. And now it's like, what do? You know? Like my trick for that is just do that, so you can just get invincibility frames. Oh God. But yeah, like you can see, look how much we've already pretty much taken as much damage as the Yeti did. And we're not even like halfway dead. He's not even half dead. And like, yeah, like that attack where he just spews out like his like shadow thing or whatever. Like not only is the hitbox bigger than it looks, but like there's not really much you can like really do. Like if you're in the middle of where he's gonna hit, like you're just gonna get hit basically. Look how much damage this guy does. Like, it's ridiculous. Ah! Okay, we're just gonna... Oh, I did my turbo right when he was being like, I'm getting hurt. But yeah, this is like the one boss in the game where it's like... Even with the legend item, like, pretty much all of my money is gonna go towards getting my health back. Because, like, you can kind of... Like, look at that. Like, he led his stupid swing. What am I supposed to do, man? He's a genius. So there's, like, a certain... Like, I think if you're standing, like, right in the middle here... there's, like, some of his attacks just... Like, his attack where he does that can have trouble actually hitting you. Because I try to hit, like, the right side of the screen and it just, like, won't work. But yeah, like there's no real good tricks for this boss. It's just a lot of his attacks are just basically impossible to dodge. Like seriously. I think actually maybe the best trick for this guy might actually be to stand right in the corner here, I want to say. Like if I stand here, I think this is where maybe There's probably a spot where if you're standing in like one of the corners, I think I remember there being a spot where he can't hit you, but I don't remember. But yeah, like there's really not much to say about this boss. He does a ridiculous amount of damage for some reason, like way more than all the other bosses. But, like, ah, God. Because it's weird. It feels like most of the bosses are designed so that you can beat them when you first get to them. But, like, they're also, like, made trivial by their legend item. Whereas with the Lich, it's more like they expect you to use his legend item, and if you don't have it, he's even deadlier. And, like, you do get 1,500 gold for killing him. But, like, man, I don't know. My thoughts ultimately are, I think that the bosses are cool, but they're definitely not the highlight of the game.
And recovered his shard. You have found both runestones from this realm.
But yeah, there you go. And hey, we get the Shadow World, the Dream World theme. And this is the only time we'll hear this for the rest of the game, because I think Desecrated Temple has actually its own theme as well. And then the other ones I think don't. It's kind of like a weird like thing where like the last couple areas actually just go back to the vanilla song. But yeah, like look at this. All my gold is just going towards getting my health back. Because it's just so much goddamn damage. But we have tons of money left over. So like, should I buy? I don't know. Maybe I'll buy some stat upgrades for the Desecrated Temple. Let's just buy like 100 strength. There. For some reason too, like a weird glitch, and this is persistent in all versions. When you buy stat upgrades, it'll like even though it goes up by 10 per buy, for some reason it'll show going up by like 20 per upgrade. And like it'll go up to the right number, but it'll show, like my strength was like 625 before this, and then I bought 100 strength. But when you actually buy the strength, it'll show it as though it was 525 and it went up to 725. It's like some weird thing. I don't know why it does that. It's really weird. Anyways, I'll save and I'll just let Summoner do his talking. And yeah, that'll be it for this part. See you guys later.
Congratulations! You have recovered the shard for the Dream World. Now that you have recovered all 8 shards, enter the Desecrated Temple and banish Scorn from the realm.